didn't matter what I said, their minds were made up. My story is very lengthy and contains a lot of trauma. I have 3 children, and from a very young age, my middle child began to struggle socially and emotionally. I put this down to him being a demanding child who's just a bit harder than most. Once he started school, I soon realised there was more to this than him being demanding. After a long period of thinking it would settle, I realised it was time to go to the GP and ask for help. I felt awful as a mum, like I couldn't even parent my own child properly. After cancelling the appointment 3 times because I just couldn't face it, I eventually went along without my child with my little notebook. It broke my heart to say such negative things about my child, but I really needed to get him help. The GP listened and said, "Well, I can refer him to CAMS, but I don't think it will be accepted." He was right, the referral was declined. I decided to carry on another 6 months, where things were worsening every day for my child. He was just about getting through school and then completely crumbling at home. At the time, I didn't know why this was happening. After 6 months, I went back to the GP and he referred to CAMS again. The GP asked me to go and speak with the school. I really didn't want to because school had made it quite clear that he was fine there, but I did as I was asked. And so began 4 years of hell. The school instantly dismissed my concerns once again, and there was no way they were going to back down. I was not prepared for the trauma, the frustrations, the hurt and anger, and the total failings that were about to happen. I was losing my child in every way possible, and I needed to get him help. The GP referral was accepted this time. It did trigger an educational psychologist to go into school. She sat and listened, but she'd already made her mind up from listening to the school that the problem was totally me. She made 2 promises which she didn't deliver on and made it very clear in meetings, sitting alongside school, that I was the problem. It didn't matter what I said, their minds were made up. The little looks and smirking faces were all around the table. This continued for a long time. However, I continued to push. My child was in crisis and he needed help. I quickly realised I was blacklisted and every professional seemed to be on board until they spoke to the school. Then they would too be on their side. At this point my child was now saying, "Mummy, why is no one helping me at this? What's the point?" My child continued to crumble after school. Now his meltdowns on the street were causing unwanted attention. The looks and stares, the arguments were in full swing. My child bottles up all the day's emotions, and at 3 p.m. he can't contain them anymore. It was heartbreaking to see why no one would help and why no one would believe me. It got so bad I asked members of the public to ring school and explain what they see in the hope that they would listen. I needed to get my child help, so I rose above the professional and school's opinion, and I continued to put my child first. I continued to fight. I was told again, "Your child is fine here. He doesn't have anything wrong with him. It's you. You're anxious. He will not get a diagnosis of ASD, nor will he get an education healthcare plan." The power battle with school continued. It was clear I wasn't going to get my child any help. I'd failed him as a mum. I'm watching him slip away, and his smile is now gone, and I can't get him any help. Just the unwanted personal comments and judgments from the very people who I trusted to help. Then the telephone call. "Hello, this is social services. We've had a referral for school." "Well, we've had several. We need to come home and check everything is okay." My whole world crumbled completely. I was devastated. How can this be when my child is suffering so much? What am I doing wrong? The Special Educational Needs and Disability Code of Practice from the Department of Education. All those who work with children should be alert to emerging difficulties and respond early. In particular, parents know their children best, and it's important that all practitioners listen and understand when parents express concerns about their child's development. NICE guidance: Autism spectrum disorder in under 19s, recognition, referral and diagnosis. Always take parents' or carers' concerns and, if appropriate, the child's or young person's concerns about behaviour or development seriously, even if these aren't shared by others. We all have different experiences through the multi-agency assessment before, during and after. Join our conversation to try and make sure that everyone has the most positive experience they can at this difficult time.